But here's the thing, and here's the kicker. This is actually the second element of the role of the feminine. Our role is not only to awaken that life force energy within you and pressurize that energy, but it's also to teach you what to do with this energy. This is why we say that women are gatekeepers and standard setters, and it's something that is so distorted in this world these days. Women have completely forgotten. We're awakening to it, right? We've been through this so many times on my channel. This was the season of awakenings of the feminines. We were rising to create a space for masculines to rise as well, because everything starts from a woman, everything starts from a feminine energy. But the role of a woman is not only to awaken that energy and activate that energy, so to speak, within a man, and pressurize it, like I said, but it's also to, through being a gatekeeper, to show him how to actually use it. So what does it mean? Again, we're going to go back to the distortion of the matrix. Your life force energy, whether you're a man or woman, it's your power. It's supposed to serve you, your benefit, through you, the benefit of a collective, so the greater good of all. And through that energy, you connect to God, connect to higher realms, connect to the divine. But us, feminines, because we sit on a portal to the divine on our wombs, we have more natural ability to understand that, because we have direct access to that divinity. Whether it's conscious or not, it doesn't matter. This is why women understand these things a little bit better, and it's a little bit easier for women. Whereas for a man, it has to be done through a woman, not necessarily an actual woman. It can be done through your feminine, inner feminine energy, right? But it's done through a woman. We're talking now about the union element, the yin and yang in the physical. So it's important to understand here. So what actually needs to happen is that women need to remember that through your behavior, some women will do it consciously, and most women, it's okay if you do that subconsciously, but we've completely stopped doing that because, again, of the system that wants to disconnect us from self. But the role of a woman is to teach a man how to use and value this energy. So to raise him from that shallow level that we've mentioned in before, that matrix pushes him to be at, to raise that energy to the level of the heart. So how do we do that? We set standards. We don't give away access to our divinity and our womb to random men. We practice celibacy. We don't allow men into our body and our field who aren't our divine counterparts, who aren't able to be our protectors and providers, who aren't in their divinity. Right? We are the lineage keeper. We are the gatekeeper. We are the standard setters. It is our role to teach men self-control that they actually have to master on their own. Because this is the thing. We're not supposed to force them to do these things. But through being the gatekeepers in our divine femininity, we teach them through not giving them access to what they most want. And we've discussed this before, why? To teach them better ways to use that energy. And what is a better way to use that energy? For themselves and for the collective. And when I say withholding what they actually want, I don't mean through control, right? Because again, I feel like the need to explain this. I don't mean when you already are in divine union and you use sexuality as a means of controlling a man. So if he upsets you, then you're going to withhold it. No, that's rubbish. That's distorted feminine. What I mean is that you are not allowing a man access to your body before he actually shows that he is a divine masculine worthy of your energy and he's actually ready to commit. So when you start to connect to a man, it is your decision. And it is his role to learn through that experience self-control and use that energy differently. It is a decision of a feminine. We're starting this relationship. We're going to start to date. You're going to wine and dine me. You're going to be my partner. We're going to be exclusive from day one. I talk about this all the time as well. It's rubbish, this connecting to different people. Let's get to know each other. Yes, let's get to know each other. We're exclusive from day one. But whether we're going to have sex after 3 months, it's my decision. Or maybe 6 months. Or maybe I will feel like 9 months until I feel that you are worthy of my femininity and my womb and my vessel, it's not going to happen. And through that behavior, through these standards, through that impeccable, unshakable self-love and self-worth, that it is not your job to give him anything, but it is his job to actually prove that he's worthy. It's something that we used to understand better on this earth, and we completely lost it these days. You teach him how to use that energy, how to self-control that energy. Because what the matrix does is the matrix and the system convinces men that it is okay to waste this energy. You have to understand that your life force energy, feminines, we're operate on a 4D level. We're constantly connected to the 5D. Our life force energy doesn't have a physical form. That's the serpent, that's the energy, that's the right. But your life force energy, divine masculine, as a man, it actually has a physical representation. And if you decide to ejaculate that life force energy and give it with a shallow intention to random things, you're losing your life force energy. So what I mean by that is that the matrix convinces you that, again, you can waste that energy. You can give it to random women. You can give it with an intention of just meaningless, watching porn and that shallow sort of arousal at the random act of pleasuring yourself, deprived of spirit, deprived of tantra, deprived of, and also taunted by shame subconsciously, right? Because everybody does this, but no one talks about it. Why? Because the system, I've talked about this in the beginning, imposes shame over the act of self-pleasuring, right? Especially religions. So the matrix tells you that it's okay, but it's absolutely not okay. And there's one more thing. We're going to talk about what you can do with this energy, and I've covered this in my celibacy video. What men can do with this energy, you can use it for the self, or you can use it for the greater good of collective, and I've covered this in my celibacy video. But what I want to add to this today is that as you work with that energy, you have to understand that you can also transmute it. And men who are on a more of a shallow matrix level, right, still dormant, they don't understand conscious transmuting of that energy, and they do it sort of naturally. And unfortunately, the natural alchemic capacity of this energy is through anger. So when men don't know what to do with this is why they also tell you that you need intimacy, you need sex, and you need ejaculation. Again, bollocks and nonsense of the matrix, because then you're going to just be anger, or some people even would tell you that you're going to get sick, right? Men need rubbish. The only thing you need to know is what to do with this energy consciously and properly, right? So when you don't know what to do with this energy, you start to transmute it into anger. And there's going to be a small group of men that's going to be on a very shallow level. So that anger is going to be aggression, abusiveness, conflicts, wars, and those kind of things. Whereas most men will transmute it into anger in simple acts like, I don't know, even like through watching sports. It's a great way to practice now, because we're entering the World Cup. So if you're into football, again, why are you so angry? The sports is meant to come with healthy competition, for masculine healthy competition, collaboration, with joy, with, right, not with anger. Because it's the energy within you that you don't know what to do with it, you don't know how to use it. It starts to naturally transmute into anger if you don't filter it through the level of the heart. And we've done exercises before. Again, you're going to find them on that playlist that I've told you about. We've done exercises how to filter it through your heart first. That's how you actually transmute it. Because if it goes straight from your loins, straight from your chara, from your sacral space, it's going to either go into ejaculation or aggression. You have to filter it first for the level of the heart. And once you start doing that, you're in complete control of that energy, and you are getting rid of that feeling of aggression. And when you are able to filter it through the your heart space, through the level of the heart, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, how to raise that, it's going to transmute naturally into productive life force energy. Because remember, again, what I said, kundalini for women is more fluid, is more serpent, is more sensual, it's more, right? Whereas the life force energy for men, it's more, this is that Ida and Pingala, right? Because you're creators of the physical world. Our masculines, you're the builders of the physical, whereas the feminine is the gatekeeper of the divine. That's the role of these energies, right? So in order to build, you need that, it's that wand energy, right? It's that king of wand that I always talk about. It's that direction, is that right? Is that dedication, is that life force that can be manifested in the physical, right? This is why the whole the anatomy of your body, that how it works, the ejaculation and everything, because it's meant to be put into the physical world with an actual force. So if you filter it through the heart, it stops being an aggression. It starts becoming passion, direction, masculine direction. Again, feminine, it's a force of creation, but it's nothing without the masculine direction, right? And we provide the direction of, in the sense of spirituality, insight, inspiration, but in the physical, what gives the direction is the masculine, right? So it's very important to understand, again, that flow. It's the feminine that draws that life force energy through the portal of her womb, and she's supposed to understand it, work with it, understand that it is her sexuality and her life energy that will create that pressure on the masculine energy that will then connect to that life force energy, that through that pressure, which again, if it's shallow level, you understand it as arousal. If it's more elevated, you understand that it's the divinity of the feminine that you are using to connect to higher realms and to connect to God. This is why true divine masculine understand that the woman is a goddess and it is to be worshipped and to be protected and provided for. You connect to that knowledge, and through the guidance of your feminine, who is that gatekeeper of divinity, consciously or subconsciously, again, for most people it's going to be subconscious, you learn to be a better man, to raise that energy to the level of the heart, not just use it, the shallow level aggression, intercourse, but for tantra, for connecting with your feminine, for creating something in this physical world through your passions, through your gifts, through your talents, right? Through the force of your physical body as well. Men are natural builders, architects. You like to work with your hands, create something, build something, see the fruits of that passion in the physical world. And it all starts with that life force energy. And one more thing that I want to mention before we move to that exercise bit is to understand the flow of that energy between men and a women and a woman. I've done a video about this and some articles on my website. It's about the divine flow, right? And I've mentioned this briefly before, that heart is where men receive and women give. Sacral is where men give and women receive, right? So this is why in divine union, you actually give your life force energy through ejaculation to your divine feminine. You give her a literal physical life force that she filters through the filter of her womb, adds more divinity to it, raises it naturally to the level of the heart, because if the feminine has that kundalini flow sort of awaken, she will naturally raise it to the level of the heart and give it back to you, where you receive from the heart through love, through inspiration, through divine insight, through intuition, through care, through softness, through emotion, right? And this is also how, through that flow, as per divine law and divine union, men and women actually understand that what we provide and what we bring into this world doesn't have to have a physical form. It's another illusion of the matrix. This is why men think that if I work and you don't work, I have the power. No, we both bring into this world. We both bring into this relationship. It's that whatever you bring has a physical form, and what the feminine element brings doesn't have a physical form, because it's divine, because it comes from higher realms. Again, it's the creatrix. Nothing a man grounds into existence could be ever grounded into existence if it haven't been created on an energetic level for a woman, because I believe in it, because I have faith in it, because I have faith in you. This is why the true greatness of a man is achieved through a power couple, right? It's the woman that is that connection. All right. But what I want to talk about now is that final element is how and why you can work with that kundalini energy. Now you understand what it is. Now you understand the divine laws around that and how it functions in union, and how it's blocked and suppressed by this matrix and the system that we live in. So I've talked about in this video about celibacy. So if you're still here, I think it would be important for you to actually watch that video. Perhaps all the videos that I've mentioned as well, but watch that video about celibacy. It's a longer video as well, but it's very important because it touches on that stage of a masculine development, divine masculine on a journey, where you start to understand that you should respect yourself, you should cherish your life force energy, you shouldn't give away your life force energy, you should live in celibacy. And I've explained there as well how to practice. And I spoke about, and we've done exercises about raising that energy to the level of the heart, holding that energy within, transmuting that energy into love, and externalizing this energy into something productive once it's filtered for the heart. So we've talked about all these things today as well. But I want to bring it to one more level, because in that video we were talking about either holding that energy and transmuting that energy, or ejaculating that energy in an act of self-pleasure. However, introducing tantra and releasing shame around it completely, which is an amazing exercise as well. But today specifically, I want you to understand how to connect to that energy deeper, actually understanding that this life force is your again, I call it satori for men, but it is that kundalini, and it is something that ultimately will cause that awakening within you. So when you're ready, I've mentioned this in the beginning, when you're ready, you can start working with that. Do all these exercises that I've mentioned in the celibacy video, but going one step further. So when that energy is rising, which means that there's a feminine energy that pressurizes it. There's no other way. There's no other way. There needs to be a feminine energy, no matter, even like if it's non-gender specific, there needs to be feminine energy for masculine energy to be pressurized, to feel that arousal and to feel that life force energy. So when you start to feel that pressure, at the end of this journey, it will be coming directly and solely from your divine feminine, but occasionally it may be caused by other women, and that's absolutely fine. When you start that energy rising, there's one more level to try to practice, and I'm going to talk about in a moment what exactly it will help you to achieve. But it's actually practicing achieving an orgasm, obviously through self-pleasuring, because at this point you should know that celibacy is the way to go in the final stages of the journey. So through self-pleasuring, again, we're going to introduce tantra, we're going to introduce sensuality, everything that I've mentioned in that previous video. But it's actually starting to practice to reach orgasm without ejaculation. And again, such a deep misconception of the matrix. Sometimes it's even so, you guys, it's so sad that I sometimes hear from women who actually believe that men need that, and it's not healthy. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. You only need to know what to do with this energy. So what you're going to do is you're going to practice getting closer and closer and closer to an orgasm. And just a side note, once you are in union with your divine feminine, it is your life force energy. It is your decision whether you want to physically give it to her or not. So you can actually be intimate with your divine feminine. You can give each other pleasure. You can have an orgasm. You can have a beautiful tantric connection in that act of intimacy, because no, my energy is staying with me today. I'm not going to give it to you. It is your decision. And it's the power of a divine masculine to practice, to take that choice. And I know it's very difficult. So be mindful that for some of you, you actually may not be able to learn that before union. Some masculines will reach that moment when you're going to be able to a couple of times achieve that goal and that objective. And for some of you, you're going to practice that together with your feminine once you are in union. Because remember, union, physical union is not the end game, right? And I've talked about this many times, and especially recently, that we're not supposed to reach perfection. Perfection is another illusion of the matrix that is keeping us away from each other. You only need to be in control of your shadows, right? So you have to feel that you're not going to run away, that you're ready to commit. That's the readiness for union. You're not expected to be perfect. And as we get into union that is not endgame, another chapter of healing together starts. We're forming a new entity. We're going to learn each other. We're going to heal deeper together. And we're going to amplify each other's greatness. And we're going to continue this journey. The journey continues. It's just a milestone. It's not an end game. It's something that slows many masculines down. That's that illusion that they need to achieve something before. So for some of you, you're going to be able to achieve that exercise, and for some of you, you won't, and it's something that you may practice with your feminine. But again, it's trying to reach that moment and that state of ecstasy, but stopping the ejaculation and actually holding it in. And as you hold it in, then you're going to move to that exercise that I've mentioned. And consciously, and I've walked you through, we've done it together a few times on my channel, and consciously through breath work, through intention, through visualization, as that energy is within you, hold it back and raise it to higher levels. And when it reaches solar plexus, it will obviously fuel your willpower, your worthiness, your personal boundaries. When it reaches the heart, it will open space for you to fully feel your emotion. And this is where you will connect to your inner feminine, and through that inner feminine, you will deeper connect to your actual feminine. And then you can try to raise it even higher to your throat, which is your truth, which is your authenticity, which is your vulnerability, speaking with vulnerability. And as you are in that moment and in that practice, you can connect to your feelings and to your truth, so you can speak out loud. Even if you're just you in your bedroom, in a room, speak about your emotions, feel your emotions, acknowledge your emotions, connect to your emotions, connect to the higher side of self, which is the feminine self, the higher chakras, the truth. Speak with vulnerability. Use that life force energy for that, and ultimately you're going to raise it to the level of your crown, again through visualization, through breath work in that moment. And through crown you connect to the divine, and it happens in the moment, in that practice, right? So you then finish with breath work, you finish with that meditation, connecting to heart, connecting to throat, holding that energy in, and that is how you work with that, again, kundalini satori, raising it upwards to open it to the divine, right? And then to hold it within your body. But as you work with that, obviously we start to work with our energy, kundalini energy, during sessions, in sessions like this. Some people decide to, use, it's more for the feminines actually, to use the assistance of a spiritual teacher, but masculines, you walk through this journey differently. But then you sort of carry that knowledge into your entire life, and you can use that energy on the next day, on the next week, to actually practice the connection to the, so act more from a place of emotion. Talk about your emotions with a friend, with somebody, be more vulnerable. That's how you use this energy as well, with the solar plexus as well, to create your boundaries, stronger boundaries, because all that energy, instead of wasting it, ejaculating it, giving it externally, you hold it in and you use it for your own power, for your own benefit, for your own liberation of the spirit, for your own willpower, for your own boundaries, for your own emotions, for your own vulnerability, for your own insight, and for your own connection to the divine, right? So just to sum it up for you is benefits of that practice. So you hold this energy for yourself and you raise that energy, right? Which is expansion of your consciousness, connection to the divine, deeper awakening, deeper healing. You use it to open your chakras, especially important, the heart and the throat, right? For that masculine, because authenticity and truth is extremely important for the masculine, and there's no masculine if you don't connect to your heart and to your emotions. It's your receiving center, as we mentioned, is extremely important. What it also gives you is that it teaches you not to focus on performance, because sexuality, tantra, intimacy with your ultimate divine feminine teaches us that it's all about the journey, not about the destination. It's about pleasure and extending pleasure. Oof, I got chills. Connecting to each other, but not necessarily. And it's especially important for men because, again, the matrix programs you, which is extremely difficult for men. The matrix programs you to perform, to give, to bring something, right? And it's that misunderstanding and distorted conception of protector and provider. Whereas you too have the birthright to thrive, to feel good, to feel pleasure, to feel fulfilled without having to perform. And it's something that Tantra with your feminine will teach you as well, that it's about the journey. We don't have to finish. We don't have to get anywhere, right? There's so many tantric exercises and practices that teaches us that with our partner or on our own as well. It will also help you to train that self-control. I am in power of my life force energy, and it is my decision. I am not a slave of my body where I have to do that in order to achieve ecstasy, but I actually train my body to, remember what I always say, it's not just in this case, but in all cases, an ego is an amazing servant. It's a horrible master. It's the consciousness that needs to be the master. So it teaches you to regain control over your life force energy, that you don't have to give it away in order to get pleasure, right? Another misconception of the matrix. Men can train themselves to do that. It requires it. No one says it would be easy, right? But it is possible. And the final thing is that it ultimately gives you that deep connection to self, because it ultimately connects you to that life force energy, teaches you to work with that life force energy, teaches you to use that life force energy consciously, how you want to use it and how you decide to use it, which is something that will ultimately facilitate your satori awakening and your actual awakening. That is the final step to that sort of a sealing, that divine masculine energy within you, and pushing you to break no contact, to walk towards your feminine, to have that milestone of union, and then initiate another chapter of growing together, of expanding. We continue to grow, we continue to expand. It's just that now we do it together once we are in union. All right, you guys, it ended up being a horribly long video, probably divided into 2 parts, but I think it's important. Again, we are in seasons of awakenings, 2026, 2027, seasons of unions, the end game for the twins, because we're starting a whole new era for humanity. We're needed in union, we're needed focused, we're needed in higher levels of consciousness and understanding. It's our role to teach all these things, not necessarily directly through words, but through embodiment, through example, through living these things to other people, so we can all ultimately awaken. And like I said, natural byproduct of that will be a complete destruction of the matrix. And it's also something that, you know, people understand very literally. Some men, when I say the divine masculine is meant to dissolve the matrix and deconstruct the matrix, and we're going to build a better world, a new earth, and people think, oh my god, how are we going to do that? It sounds like such a big task. But that's actually how you do that. That's actually how you do that. You don't have to have this grand, people think that your mission is this grand thing that you're going to have to build like a huge company, or be a politician, or be a leader, right? No, it's through what you do. if you are able to achieve all these things that I mentioned in this video, so the to transmute that energy properly, to control that energy, to know how to exchange that energy with your feminine, to work with these energies, that's all you have to do, because that will initiate a chain reaction for the matrix, for other men. You will be that beacon of change. That's really all we have to do through changing ourselves, and then we're going to naturally emit that vibration. So it's absolutely enough. Again, it's illusion, that grandiose and perfection, it's all illusion of the matrix to keep us separated from each other and to keep our masculines away through shame and through feeling not being good enough, away from the feminine. This journey is not about perfection, is not about reaching some sort of a, right? We walk the path of trying to achieve Christ consciousness together until the day we die, right? And there's still so long for this life to achieve that. So the moment you are supposed to be ready for union is you're ready when you say you're ready. You were ready all along. You were worthy all along. We've talked about this in my recent reading sorry, that I posted, I think yesterday or today. I get confused, but yeah, it's exactly that. You're worthy. You're good enough. It's your birthright. You only needed to remember that you just need to claim your feminine and walk this path together. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I love you so incredibly much, and I will see you soon.